Right now, after the weekend cool down comes a work week warm up. There's a live picture as we wake up this morning. Beautiful shot there. Chris is tracking warmer temperatures and a chance for some rain and thunder along with it. And we are 2 days away from the spring election. What you need to know about your ballot before heading to vote on Tuesday. Plus, we're now hearing from the family of an Illinois state trooper killed in a crash this week, as another trooper is dead after a crash this weekend.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, and thanks for waking up with us on this Sunday, March 31st, the final day of March. I'm Josh Barton with meteorologist Chris Reese. I just can't believe it. April's already tomorrow. It's, I guess, a good thing because we're getting this nicer weather around here.
And as we go further through April, we're just going to warm up temperature-wise. Averages are going in the positive direction. We're going to continue to see more of that through time. Temperatures, though, this morning, Josh, are very wintry, a lot colder.
Chilly.
Than the past 24 hours by far. Some of us upwards of 20 degrees colder. So be prepared for that little shock as you step out the door. Most of us have temperatures in the, not just the 20s, but the low 20s at that. 21 down in Janesville, same for the Dells. Camp Douglas is at 15 degrees. So, yeah, you're definitely going to experience that shock. We're at 24 here in Madison, and we do still have winds coming out of the north and west at about 7 miles per hour. We're all keeping that northwesterly wind around as we go through today as well, and eventually into your Monday. But here's the deal. There's very little in the way of cloud cover. Most of it's just high cloud cover making for that gorgeous sunrise. However, the snow that you see up near parts of Fargo, that could send some more cloud cover our way as we go later on into the evening and overnight hours. But as you plan your Sunday, expect the word sun to be pretty prevalent today. And we'll see those highs in the mid-40s.
Yeah, we were out on the search for some patio furniture yesterday, and a lot of people are doing the same. It just kind of gives you
I need to go too before, you know I'm moving in a couple of weeks and just whatnot. I need some new patio furniture.
There you go. You deserve it. All right, Chris, thank you.
My pleasure.
6:32 right now. The Illinois State Police Department is mourning the death of a second state trooper within days. 36-year-old trooper Gerald Ellis was killed early Saturday morning on I-94 when a wrong-way driver struck his squad car. He was an 11-year state veteran with the District 15 in Downers Grove. Illinois trooper Brooke Jones Story was killed Thursday when a truck struck her. And in January, a vehicle killed trooper Christopher Lambert. Illinois State Police say they're seeing a spike in crashes involving parked squad cars and passing vehicles. And new this morning, we're hearing from the family of Trooper Brooke Jones Story. In a statement, the Jones Story family writes that Trooper Brooke was, quote, a woman who embraced life and loved spending time with her beloved family and friends. They say when she wasn't working, she could be found working on her farm, cheering for the Cubs and watching all of the Disney movies she could find. The statement goes on to say Brooke was a dedicated, courageous, loving, and passionate officer and the absolute best person you could meet. Her funeral will be held this Wednesday at Warren High School. That's about an hour west of Beloit. Tuesday is the spring election in Wisconsin, but there's still a chance to vote early if you want to skip the lines. As long as you're already registered, you can vote at some locations today. We have a list of early voting locations that are open across Madison on Channel3000.com. If you're not registered, you'll have to vote on Tuesday. On everyone's ballot in Wisconsin will be the two candidates running for state Supreme Court. They're looking to fill the open seat left by longtime Justice Shirley Abrahamson. Although this race is officially nonpartisan, both candidates, Judge Brian Hagedorn and Judge Lisa Neubauer, are strongly backed by a political party. Both judges currently serve on the Wisconsin Court of Appeals. Liberal Judge Neubauer lives in Racine and is backed by more than 300 judges. Conservative Judge Hagedorn lives in Oconomowoc and has the support of more than 40 current and former sheriffs.
I want to uphold the Constitution the way it's written, protecting our rights like freedom of speech, or freedom of religion, right to bear arms. Those things are actually written in the document. And so it's my job to uphold and enforce those and not to make the Constitution say whatever I think it ought to say.
I am somebody who doesn't come to my decision-making with any agenda, no ideology, no outcomes predetermined. I am somebody who truly follows the law, follows the Constitution, works really hard to get it right.
In the last week, a Republican group spent more than $1 million to help Judge Hagedorn in that race. It's an effort to outspend Judge Neubauer, who has received strong financial support from liberal groups. We hope to learn more this week about the city of Madison's plans to make State Street an official historic district. It's a mission to try and prevent any unwelcome remodeling in the future. Last week, the brick building that once housed the Sacred Feather Hat Store was painted black. That building dates back to the 1800s, and while it was not designated a historic site, the changes were made without proper permission. That prompted the Landmarks Commission to vote on naming State Street a historic district, so something like this won't happen again.
I think there's a consensus that State Street is the critical street in Madison, and its architectural heritage is worth preserving, and we're going to proceed to do what we can to preserve it.
The commission unanimously approved moving ahead with the plans, but agreed there will need to be more discussions before the council has the final say on that matter. At this point, it's unclear who is responsible for the black paint. The owners, tenants, and painters are all blaming each other. Well, you might want to enjoy some of that sunshine today and get some yard work done. Curbside brush and yard waste collection begins tomorrow morning in Madison and will run through September. As a reminder, the city will not pick them up unless you separate the brush from yard waste. Brush includes things like tree, shrub, and bush trimmings, while yard waste covers leaves and twigs. You can find the links to the schedules for pickup on the Channel 3000 mobile app. Also starting tomorrow, Pelletary says they will not pick up any improperly prepared recyclables from people's homes. Staff are asking you to comply with the company's initiative, like breaking down large boxes and placing items that do not fit in the recycling bins in a clear plastic bag next to it. Drivers will leave a notification on your recycling bin as to why it wasn't emptied that day. Happening around the state, more than 2,000 Wisconsinites are out of a job after Shopko announced it's closing even more stores. The Department of Workforce Development issued an update this week from that Green Bay-based chain saying another 39 stores will close in June. That's in addition to the 11 locations Shopko announced it would close last month. Spectrum Transportation Services and American Supply Chain Solutions are also closing since Shopko was their only customer. That means more than 2,700 workers will be out of a job. Sun Prairie business owners are on a mission to preserve downtown and maintain its historic presence. 28 businesses were recently placed on the State Register of Historic Places. It's something business owners first advocated for last summer, but July's deadly explosion put the plans on hold. One of the most notable historic buildings is the old City Hall. The owners are trying to restore it to what it originally looked like back in 1895. And now, because of the historic status, they'll get a tax credit from the state of 20% of the total restoration costs.
It was a powerful building, symbolizing the strength of Sun Prairie. That's why it was built the way it was in 1895. And so I think it's important that we bring it back to that.
Business owners are also hoping the downtown district will get more national recognition this year from the National Park Service and make people more interested in visiting Sun Prairie. A local media company is working on telling the story of Sun Prairie's resiliency and wants your help with their documentary. The Sun Prairie Media Center is working on a documentary about the explosion on July 10th and the months that followed, all the way up to Main Street reopening in November. The hope is to highlight the community's resiliency, not the criminal or civil investigations connected to it. They're asking for any footage of the explosion, the aftermath, and the rebuilding. They're also looking for people to be interviewed for the documentary. Those are set to start here in a couple of weeks. You can contact Jeff Robbins at jrobbins@cityofsunprairie.com for more information. The Circus World Museum in Baraboo says it helped play a role in the new Dumbo movie, which debuted in theaters this weekend. The ringmaster for the museum tells us Disney wardrobe and set consultants visited Baraboo to research what the circus was like from the 1890s to the early 1900s. He says this isn't the first time the Baraboo Museum and Disney connected. When Disneyland first opened, they actually purchased multiple wagons from the museum to put in the park. If you're planning a vacation to Door County this summer, there might be another 70 acres of campground for you to choose from. Wisconsin Public Radio reports the Door Bluff Headlands Park is looking at a $500,000 expansion. That's about an hour past Peninsula State Park near Ellison Bay. It includes waterfront views of the bay. The park's superintendent says no tax dollars will be spent on that purchase, but rather grants and donations. The deadline for the deal is July 15th. The Wisconsin DNR is talking about setting harvest limits for the state's elk hunt after reintroducing the species in the state back in 2014. Current regulations allow an elk season to happen if two herds up north reach 200 and 150 animals respectively. Then the harvest is set to equal 5% of the population. Right now, those two herds are estimated to be at around 220 and 75. The DNR board will vote on the harvest quota at a meeting next month. More local news at 6:40 this morning. While spring comes with warmer temperatures, it also means the start of allergy season. After such a wet fall and winter, this year's bloom is set to be big, and so are allergies, of course. Doctors say the immune system mistakenly sees the pollen as a danger and releases antibodies that attack the allergens. That leads to the release of chemicals called histamines into the blood. Histamines then trigger a runny nose, itchy eyes, and other symptoms. Not everyone has allergies, and even those who do react differently. But doctors have at least one way to help you through it.
A nasal steroid, so Flonase and Nasonex are the big ones, and they're now over the counter, so can be picked up pretty easily at your pharmacy, and it's just 2 sprays in each nostril once a day.
Dr. Lisa Netkowicz with SSM Health says nasal steroids will help decrease congestion and help with sinus pressure and the drainage into your throat, which can cause a nasty cough. She says you can also use over-the-counter antihistamines like Allegra, Claritin, and Zyrtec. And all of this spring break traveling has heightened the concern for the flu and measles. More than half of the country has seen high levels of flu-like illnesses, with 390 flu-related hospitalizations reported in Wisconsin last week alone. There have also been more than 200 cases of measles confirmed in 12 states. Even if you aren't traveling, doctors say getting vaccinated is a safe way to prevent getting sick. If you're unsure of what vaccinations you or your kids need, there are a couple of ways to find out.
It's easy to go ahead and check. If you're unsure, you can either check the Wisconsin Immunization Registry and see if you or your children have had all the shots you need. And if you're not sure, you can always check with your doctor and make sure it's a good time to get into those doctor's offices and make sure that you're well protected.
Doctors say the number of cases of people getting the flu is still rising, and a new flu strain going around has even more severe symptoms than the strain that went around earlier this year. If there's any good news, that strain is covered by this year's flu vaccine. 6:42 right now, and more sunshine is in store for us on this final day of March. Let's take a live look outside right now as we wake up on this Sunday morning. A beautiful shot of downtown Madison and the Capitol right there. Chris is tracking a warm up for the first full week of April, and News 3 Now this morning continues.
Welcome to the second half of the weekend, my friends. Pretty nice weather shaping up for us today. We are starting things off on a much colder note than 24 hours ago, which I've said for the past couple days in a row at this point. But colder air has settled in. We've seen a lot of those temperatures in the low 20s and teens this morning, all about 12 to 15 degrees colder than this time yesterday. 19 in Watoma, Camp Douglas. You guys are at 15 degrees, 21 for our friends in Janesville. And really, most of us are seeing those temperatures in the 20s. For us here in Madison, we're at 24. Those winds are coming out of the north and west at 7 miles per hour. That's the wind that we're going to keep around as we go through the day. It's going to be that northwesterly wind helping to keep the air dry, but it may also allow some cloud cover to filter in later on tonight and into tomorrow. But right now, skies are clear for us. There is some cloud cover off to the north and west. And so that's going to keep plenty of sunshine around as we go through today. And I think a lot of folks are certainly going to enjoy that as we go through the next couple of days. Not quite sure what's going on with the graphics right now, but of course we will take a look at that. Ultimately, here's what you can expect, folks. Expect the nice weather to stick around today. High pressure will stay in control. That is going to keep things on a drier note. But as that high begins to work its way over towards the south and east, that's going to allow those temperatures to warm up towards the middle of the work week. And yesterday, we did see a lot of those highs right around 43 degrees, but we're going to continue to add to that in time, going from the 40s and really into the 60s eventually by the time we get you towards the end of the work week. So here are the correct graphics starting to show up for us. I'm going to go ahead and breeze through these just to show you guys how we begin to warm things up as we go towards the middle of the work week. We'll begin to see those highs into the mid 50s, but check out the end of the forecast. We're talking 60s. There's a 67 in that forecast, Josh. Oh, so close to 70. Not quite there just yet, though. We are going to see some chances of rain coming in towards the middle of the week. That's going to be something to watch. We could see some lightning and thunder with that. Another nice weekend next weekend before more chances for rain early the week after next.
Upper 60s,
Upper 60s, my friend.
Wow. All right, Chris. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Well, some of the most serious accidents on the road are when a car collides with the side of a tractor trailer. It's estimated underride crashes kill around 200 people every year, but experts say that number could be much higher. Safety advocates are pushing lawmakers to pass legislation that would require tractor trailers to have guards or safety strips. Consumer Reports says the measure can stop a car from going underneath, preventing severe damage.
These crashes, you need big companies and you need Congress to step up to ensure that this technology is on every truck across America.
There are currently laws requiring rear guards. Supporters want the same for the side, but the safety measure would add weight to a tractor trailer, increasing costs for manufacturers and truckers. A former baseball player is trading in his sport to help the city of Madison with the streets. Meet Felix Caraballo. He's been cleaning our streets for the past 3 years. Before this, he was a pitcher for the Oakland A's, the Reno Red Sox, and the Madison Muskies. He said the switch over to the gig was difficult, but being a team player is something that transferred over as a skill he could use anywhere. He also says you can be a team player this spring by following a few simple guidelines.
Many things that people can help us do it. It's being nice if people don't park in the street. People don't should put the recycling and garbage bin in the street. When they put it in the street, we have to go around and all that stuff stay there.
Street sweepers will be busy for the next 6 weeks. Last year, the city of Madison said the street sweepers collected more than 1,500 tons of debris, but believe they can collect more if we keep the streets clear of our cars and garbage cans. Time right now, 6:49. Third time's the charm. A beloved sci-fi series has been revived once again, promising to take you back to a dimension as vast and timeless as infinity. Get ready to go back to the Twilight Zone when News 3 Now This Morning continues.
Well, good Sunday morning. We are waking up to more sunshine on the picture, and I think we're going to see continued sunshine going throughout the day as well. Temperatures, though, are just a little bit colder. We're at 24 here in Madison. It's 14 degrees colder than 24 hours ago, so be prepared for that as you step outside. But high pressure does remain in control. That means the sunshine remains in control for your Sunday as well. We'll see those temperatures topping out around 44 this afternoon, cooling down towards 29 under clear skies later on tonight. Josh?
Chris, thank you. It is 6:53 this morning, and it's the series that promised to take you to a dimension as vast and timeless as infinity. Get ready to go back to the Twilight Zone. The series premieres tomorrow, and Tom Waite hit the red carpet with the cast and its star executive producer.
You are re-entering the Twilight Zone. One of Hollywood's most iconic shows is back. And tonight at the premiere, the show's executive producer, Jordan Peele, celebrated along with the cast.
We have to kind of do justice to the rules of the Twilight Zone and the aesthetic that, Serling and his team set up. But then we get to tell stories that are relevant to 2019 and really just update it.
Everything that happens in this universe has to be the way it is.
Like the original, the current psychological thriller aims to draw in audiences with topical stories.
My episode is about the meaning of home, how we define that for ourselves, and I find that especially poignant given how we are presently treating immigrants.
I think my episode is about consciousness. I think in some ways, especially with my character, compassion.
Everything you said would come true has.
You get a concept for something that could be the end to a Twilight Zone episode. You flesh it out and you start to ask, well, what's underneath this?
So obviously the show is being completely reinvented, but we wanted to know from the actors, did they have a favorite original episode of the show?
My favorite was Time Enough at Last, about the man who wanted to spend his life with books instead of people.
The show premieres on CBS All Access April 1st. In Hollywood, Tom Waite, KCAL 9 News.
The original Twilight Zone series ran from 1959 to 1964 and has been revived 2 previous times. All right, 6:55 right now, and there's a full hour of more local news ahead for us on News 3 Now this morning. The day's top stories are just ahead, but first here's a preview of an all-new For the Record.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Neil Heinden. Coming up on For the Record, we will look at the recent terrorist murders by a white supremacist in New Zealand and about organized efforts to combat hatred wherever it's found. I'll be talking with We Are Many United Against Hate founder Masood Akhtar, as well as Dane County District Attorney Ishmael Ozan. That's coming up this morning at 10:30 on News 3 Now.
Well, this is no April Fool's joke. Your morning commute through the city is about to get longer if you take Willie Street, Blair, or John Nolan Drive. We'll give you a closer look at the massive construction project starting tomorrow.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this Sunday, March 31st. I'm Josh Brighter. Chris is tracking a warm-up in his forecast, but first, let's get right to today's headlines. The Illinois State Police Department is mourning the death of a second state trooper within days. 36-year-old trooper Gerald Ellis was killed early Saturday on I-94 when a wrong-way driver struck his squad car. He was an 11-year-old veteran or state police veteran with District 15 in Downers Grove. Illinois trooper Brooke Jones Story was killed Thursday when a truck struck her. And in January, a vehicle killed trooper Christopher Lambert. Illinois State Police say they're seeing a spike in crashes involving parked squad cars and passing vehicles. A reminder, Tuesday is the spring election, but there's still a chance for you to vote early if you want to skip the lines. As long as you're already registered, you can vote at some locations today. We have a full list of early voting locations that are open across Madison on Channel3000.com. If you're not registered, though, you will have to vote on Tuesday. We hope to learn more this week about the City of Madison's plans to make State Street an official historic district. Their goal is to try and prevent any unwelcome remodeling in the future. Last week, the brick building that once housed the Sacred Feather hat store was painted black. That building dates back to the 1800s, and while it was not designated as a historical site, the changes were made without proper permission. The commission unanimously approved moving ahead with plans to name State Street a historic district, but agreed there will need to be more discussion before the council has the final say on the matter. And we were out and about yesterday, and State Street was hopping with a lot of walkers and bikers yesterday, Chris.
And it might be today, especially this afternoon, because it's going to be very similar to the afternoon you saw yesterday. The morning, though, things are starting off just a little bit colder as high pressure has been able to settle in on top of us. So most of us are anywhere between about 15 to 18 degrees colder than 24 hours ago. A lot of these temperatures were in the low 20s, 21 in Juneau right now, although Waukesha at 19, Camp Douglas is at 15, and then we're at 25 in Lone Rock. For us here in Madison, although that's a beautiful backdrop, it is cold. The temperature is 22 degrees, and we still have this westerly and northwesterly wind. That's sticking around today. That's what's going to help keep those temperatures a little bit colder and the air drier. Speaking of drier air, there's not a lot of cloud cover out there. We're actually getting some lake effect cloud cover streaming down, along with a disturbance that's going to come out of Canada later on, bringing some snow to Fargo, North Dakota right now. However, we should dry the snow up, but still see some cloud cover from that system later on tonight and into your Monday. So in the meantime, plan for plenty of sunshine throughout the morning, becoming perhaps partly cloudy into the early afternoon. We're going to see those highs around 44, Josh.
All right, Chris, thank you. And first alert traffic this morning, you may want to find an alternate route through downtown Madison for the next few months. Tomorrow through mid-November, in each direction between Baldwin and First Streets. Also under construction will be Willie Street, South Blair Street, East Wilson Street, South Franklin Street, South Blount Street, and the Capital City Bike Path. Those areas will either be closed or under construction during this time. The city says they're redoing some of the paths and roads that are long overdue for some work. They say the last time this area was majorly worked on was back in the 80s. On top of the reconstruction, MG&E is also doing work in the area starting next week. The railroad crossing at the Wilson Blair John Nolan intersection will also be replaced. Crews hope that construction will wrap up by mid-August. Madison street crews say they can't keep up with patching potholes after record cold and flooding this past year. There are some ways to protect your car from them, though. AAA says you should inspect your tires and make sure they're properly inflated. Also, watch out for puddles. Those often disguise deep potholes. Another problem AAA has been investigating: the disappearance of spare tires in new cars. A lot of times, manufacturers are replacing those with a tire inflation kit. That comes with problems of its own.
Tire inflator kit has a shorter shelf life. After a few years, it needs to actually be replaced. Otherwise, it's not going to function the way it's designed to. And it's a much more temporary fix than even, the spare tire donut would be.
AAA says tire inflator kits will only pump up your wheel enough to get you to the nearest car repair shop. Donuts can usually get you a little farther. Make sure to report any potholes you find on the City of Madison's website. The DNR is asking people to help them find the person who illegally shot a bald eagle in Marathon County. The eagle was found this week in a ditch. Lead fragments consistent with a gunshot wound were found in the bird. Bald eagles are federally protected. If you have information, call the DNR, and you can find the agency's number on our website, channel3000.com. Well, we are continuing our mission to encourage you and your family to just be you this weekend. As kids, as adults rather, we tend to spend a lot of time directing our kids, making sure they're on a path to success. But SSM Health child psychologist Dr. Kathleen Hipke says simply pausing and hearing from them can give them confidence to pursue who they really are. It's also worth reminding them that the journey to self-discovery isn't perfect. It goes back to the old adage, it's not where you end up, but how you get there that counts.
If we can be communicating to them about, sort of how we're trying and our processes and, oh, that didn't work out so well, I kind of feel like I fumbled that, can we try again? Is a wonderful model to kids that they also don't have to get it right out of the gates, but there's a process of figuring it out.
It's also important to remember that any pressure in school isn't ever turned off at home. Social media is constantly pushing kids to conform instead of being themselves. To help with that, we're looking for BU ambassadors right now, people who are already out in the community, encouraging young people to be confident in who they are and what makes them different. If you want to learn more about this movement, you can visit our Time for Kids page at channel3000.com. 7:05 right now. Fans of Broadway musicals are familiar with the collaborations between Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber. Their first musical was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It hit the stage of the Palace Theater in the Dells this weekend, and our Michael Bruno, who's directed this production, went backstage to check it out.
Well, Joseph is this gorgeous musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber, based off of a story in the Bible. So we've got the story that we're telling of Joseph and his gorgeous Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Where there's 12 brothers and Jacob has a lot of wives, and his favorite son is Joseph, who the brothers envy very much. There's a lot of hustle and bustle. Long story short, we end up missing Joseph. We get him back in the end, and everything's great.
And it's turned into a song and dance extravaganza with lots of heart and fun as well.
I've worked at the Palace more than one time, which you know, so I've had the opportunity to work with all these fabulous performers before, so I know their body shapes and their abilities and everything, so I wanted to pull from all of their categories and stuff that I've seen them do before. So that means I could use like Bob Fosse styles for Potiphar, and then I can get hoedown and country with it, for the One More Angel in Heaven, and then we could literally just live our best 70s dreams for Go, 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 Joseph. So it's going to have a lot of genres of dance and everything in it.
Joseph is so wonderful. The way Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice sort of constructed it is because it's funny. It's a smart funny. It's a hopeful funny. And basically, the way they wrote it, any production can sort of put its own mark on it.
And speaking of fun, it has the most amazing different styles of music. So it's very different from your normal musical, where the musical is set in a time and space, and it has one kind of theme for a show.
It definitely takes you through your paces as a performer. You don't get to just rest in one style. So you get a little something of everything. You have, some honky-tonk, a little bit of hip-hop in there. We have some disco music. Really, if you like any kind of music, there's going to be something for you in this show.
Now through May 5th, there's a full list of dates and ticket information at dellspalace.com. A programming note, March Madness is once again taking over our screens here at News 3 Now. Today, Auburn, the team that knocked out the top seed North Carolina, will face Wisconsin native Tyler Harrow and Kentucky at 120. The Tigers are playing without their leading scorer who tore his ACL. The later game is a heavyweight battle between two stud coaches. Michigan State will face top-seeded Duke. That one tips off at 4:05. Here in Wisconsin, we've got the Miller Park sausages, but now at Petco Park in San Diego, you can cheer on the cast of the movie Anchorman. The mascots dressed up as Ron Burgundy, Brick Tamlin, the meteorologist, Champ Kine, the sports anchor, and Brian Fantana, the reporter, and raced around the ballpark. Well, how about that? All right, 7:09 this morning, we've got more good news on the weather front. A warm-up is on the way for us this week. Let's take a live look outside as we wake up on this final day of March. Chris will tell us just how warm we'll get going into April and also the chance of rain and thunder in his forecast. Plus, it's the next chapter for a small but beloved family-owned diner in Sun Prairie. We'll take you inside the last emotional weeks before the Prairie Diner shuts its doors. Keep watching News 3 Now this morning.
Well, good morning on your Sunday. We're going to see plenty of sunshine as we go through today, but I want to start you off with the high temperatures we saw yesterday afternoon. Once that sunshine came into the picture, a lot of those temperatures did make it into the low and even middle 40s for some of us. Today is going to be pretty much a carbon copy of what yesterday afternoon was like as we work our way into our afternoon that we have ahead of us. In the meantime, this morning is colder than we were yesterday morning by about 15 to 20 degrees, depending on where you are. A lot of those temperatures are in the low 20s. Even some upper teens are showing up. 15 in Camp Douglas right now, 19 in Waukesha. You work your way towards us here in Madison. That's where our temperature is at 22 degrees right now, and it feels like 13 with the winds coming out of the west and northwest at 7 miles per hour. It's blowing out here right now. There's definitely a chill to the wind. It came into the picture overnight last night. We're going to keep that around as we go through today. Those winds staying out of the north and west. That's also keeping the air drier, though. That's why we're going to have that sunshine around for everyone in the Midwest, the Plains, the Ohio Valley, as this front begins to work its way towards the south and east. We're going to keep that dry air around. Now, as the high works its way towards the south and east, that starts to get us in on a south and westerly wind flow as we go through Monday and into Tuesday. This is where we're really going to begin to see things warm up for us here in the upper Midwest. As I said yesterday, it's all about that rebound. We're going to see those temperatures begin to do just that, but not before another chillier afternoon. 41 by the time we get you towards your afternoon highs for today, cooling down tonight towards 29. This is when we'll start to see some of that southerly wind coming back into the picture. There will be some cloud cover, though, so don't be surprised when things are a little more gray tomorrow, but we'll see those highs around 50, and then tomorrow night, I can't rule out the possibility of a shower and perhaps some snowflakes well to our north. But watch the temperature trends beyond that. We're working our way into the mid-50s by the middle of the week. A cold front comes through at that point. That's going to bring some chances for some rain and thunder and knock those temperatures down ever so slightly. But then by next weekend and into early next week, we really begin to watch those temperatures warm up in a great direction, 3 degrees away from 70 perhaps for those highs as we get you towards next Monday. So check it out, folks. This is the forecast presented to you. Of course, we will have to watch that rain chance. A lot of folks are going to want to know what to expect for Wednesday into Thursday. No severe weather expected with that. Right now, just rain and perhaps a crack of thunder or two. But next weekend looks pretty fantastic as well.
All right, Chris, thank you.
My pleasure, Josh.
We have been asking you to share your morning with us, and Kenton Fowler sent us this picture of an ice-free Lake Mendota and Picnic Point. That is quite the shot right there. Those warmer temperatures and wind helping out with that. Thank you so much for sharing, Kenton. What does your morning look like? Take a picture and post it to the Channel 3000 social media using the hashtag MyNews3Morning. More local news. After more than 50 years, a popular gathering spot in Sun Prairie is closing its doors in a month. The owners of Prairie Diner on Windsor Street are selling the building that housed the restaurant since 1963. Madeline O'Neill has more on why and the legacy they're leaving behind.
Jane Pauley joining us from New York. Good afternoon, Jane.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
We are doing well. Hope you are as well.
Well, we got a busy weekend coming up on Sunday morning. To start with,
Apologize for that wrong video. All right, coming up, one state is going to the extreme to keep people safe from the measles outbreak. Plus, doctors are warning the flu is far from over in Wisconsin, and your time off this spring break may have made things worse. We'll explain on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. Temperatures are starting out in the 20s for a lot of us. 22 here in Madison. Some of us are seeing those temperatures into the upper teens. Waukesha, you guys are at 19 degrees this morning, 15 degrees as you work your way towards Camp Douglas. But we do get better as we go into the afternoon. High pressure is still in control. A lot of the moisture and cloud cover well to our south and east. And that means we should see plenty of sunshine for your Sunday. Expect those temperatures to top out right around 44 degrees this afternoon. Josh?
All right, Chris, thank you. If you feel like you get sick every time you travel, you are not alone. With how many people are traveling, especially this time of the year, state health officials are concerned the flu or even the measles will spread. Flu rates climb through March and aren't expected to peak until well into April. Health officials are also worried about the spread of measles. People traveling tend to make those outbreaks worse, which is why health officials are stressing the importance of getting those shots before you get on a plane or pile into the family car.
And that's how many times outbreaks start, is that one person contracts the disease and brings it back, and it spreads to others who are unprotected.
Services says the new strain is covered, so as long as you had your flu shot already, you should be protected. One New York county is now under a health emergency to deal with the ongoing measles outbreak. They're banning unvaccinated people under the age of 18 from public spaces. The ban will last for 30 days or until they get the vaccination. 151 cases of the highly contagious virus have been reported there since October. New York State currently allows religious exemptions for the measles vaccine.
It will not be law enforcement or deputy sheriffs asking for your vaccination records. That is ridiculous. However, if you are found to be in violation of this declaration, your case will be referred to the district attorney's office.
A temporary declaration could mean a $500 fine and 6 months in jail. In entertainment news, Tim Burton reunites two members of his Batman Returns cast for a new movie, but he reverses the roles of a hero and a villain. Rick Damigella has a preview of the live-action retelling of Dumbo.
Fly, little one.
The beloved flying elephant takes to the skies in a live-action retelling of Dumbo. Director Tim Burton reunited Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton from his movie Batman Returns, but with the roles reversed.
Is that a monkey in your desk?
Just for emergencies. I love working with Michael. He's the sweetest guy. And being in Dumbo with him is like, it's really spectacular. In Batman Returns, he was the good guy, I was the villain. Now in Dumbo, he's the villain and I'm the good guy. It's so sweet.
For the record, this was not my idea. Dumbo works alone.
So do I. The movie is not a shot-for-shot remake of the animated classic, with Burton instead introducing new characters and stories.
You know, all the actors on this, it was just such a wonderful thing because it's Tim, and Tim always creates like a very warm atmosphere on set.
Extraordinary kind of love for what he does, and seems like a deep need to tell certain stories, which usually involve, you know, the sense of the outsider and the other and the isolation of the other. So he was, you know, just a perfect director for this material.
Welcome, baby Dumbo. We're all family here, no matter how small.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
The Circus World Museum in Baraboo says it helped play a role in the new Dumbo movie. The ringmaster for the museum tells us Disney wardrobe and set consultants visited Baraboo to research what the circus was like from the 1890s to the early 1900s. He says this isn't the first time the Baraboo Museum and Disney connected. When Disneyland first opened, they actually purchased multiple wagons from the museum to put in the park. Dumbo is now showing. Still ahead for us this morning, the latest details about the massive construction project starting tomorrow impacting your drive through downtown Madison. And a reminder that it's not where you end up, but how you get there that counts. How you can become a BU ambassador, along with us here at News 3 Now. We're back after this.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, Wisconsin, and thanks for staying with us on this Sunday, March 31st. I'm Josh Brighter. Meteorologist Chris Reese is tracking a warm-up for the first week of April. That's in just a moment, but first, let's get right to today's headlines. Tuesday is the spring election, and there's still a chance to vote early if you want to skip the lines. As long as you're already registered, you can vote at some location today. We have a full list of early voting locations that are open across Madison on the Channel 3000 mobile app. If you're not registered, you'll have to vote on Tuesday. Starting tomorrow, Willie Street, South Blair Street, East Wilson Street, South Franklin Street, South Blount Street, and the Capital City Bike Trail will be either closed or under construction. The city is redoing some of the paths and roads that are long overdue for some work. The last time this area was majorly worked on was back in the 80s. On top of the reconstruction, MGD is also going to be doing some work in that area. The railroad crossing at the Wilson-Blair-John Nolan intersection will also be replaced. Crews hope construction will wrap up by mid-August, and also starting tomorrow, Johnson Street will be down to one lane in each direction between Baldwin and First Streets. News 3 Now is on the hunt for some BU ambassadors, people who are in the community encouraging young people to be confident in who they are and what makes them different. If you'd like to learn more about being an ambassador, you can visit our Time for Kids page at channel3000.com. All right, just about 7:30 on this Sunday morning, and a sunny Sunday out there, Chris.
That's right, Josh. In fact, I actually want to start just with a look at cloud cover across the country as a whole. We had that big cold front finally work its way towards the eastern seaboard. Behind that, folks, is honestly just pure bliss when it comes to the sunshine. High pressure is in control. It's going to be staying in control as we go through today. The only thing we have to worry about when it comes to cloud cover mainly is this little sneaky disturbance coming in. But already you can see some of the drier air starting to impact that and make that snow fall apart. That may send some high clouds later on tonight and into tomorrow. In the meantime, as you step out the door, prepare for some chilly conditions. It's 22 degrees right now, and it feels like 13 with those winds coming out of the west-northwest at 7 miles per hour. A lot of those temperatures, folks, are in the 20s this morning. Some of us are even in the upper teens. Waukesha, hello to your 19-degree temperature. Camp Douglas, hello to your 15-degree temperature. But things do look great for us headed into the afternoon. More sunshine and temperatures topping out around 44. Josh?
Thank you. The Illinois State Police Department is mourning the death of a second state trooper within days. 36-year-old trooper Gerald Ellis was killed early Saturday morning on I-94 when a wrong-way driver struck his squad car. He was an 11-year state police veteran with District 15 in Downers Grove. Illinois trooper Brooke Jones Story was killed Thursday when a truck struck her. And back in January, a vehicle killed another trooper, Christopher Lambert. Illinois State Police say they're seeing a spike in crashes involving parked squad cars and passing vehicles. And new this morning, we're hearing from the family of Trooper Brooke Jones Story, who will be buried this week. In a statement, the Jones Story family writes that Trooper Brooke was, quote, a woman who embraced life and loved spending time with her beloved family and friends. They say when she wasn't working, she could be found working on her farm, cheering for the Cubs, and watching all the Disney movies she could find. The statement goes on to say Brooke was, quote, a dedicated, courageous, loving, and passionate officer and the absolute best person you could meet. Her funeral will be held this Wednesday at Warren High School, about an hour west of Beloit. 7:31 right now. Students at UW-Madison are working on a new solution when it comes to reporting sexual assaults. This comes after the university turned down a request to bring an app to campus. Student Title IX Advisory Committee member Petra Wallach proposed the school make Callisto available last year. The app gives students multiple options for reporting sexual assaults. That includes submitting time-stamped records of the incident, reporting if another victim says they've been assaulted by the same person, or sending a report directly to administrators. In an email, the Dean of Students says Callisto doesn't prioritize the issues the UW is dealing with and that it only serves undergrads. Wallach disagrees.
What was most disappointing is that the 3 reasons that were listed for not adopting Callisto with the 3-year pilot program were all reasons that were not, rooted in truth.
According to Callisto, students on campuses using the app are 6 times more likely to report their assault and 3 times more likely to get help. The odds are also better of catching repeat perpetrators. 1 in 4 women at the UW and 1 in 3 students who identify as transgender or gender nonconforming say they've been sexually assaulted on campus. A new study finds the gender pay gap has been shrinking over the last 3 years, but at the current rate, there won't be a level playing field until the year 2070. The latest study from Glassdoor Economic Research finds the pay gap is slowly shrinking. Women now earn 79 cents for every dollar a man makes. That's up 3 cents from 2016.
Progress continues at about the same pace as we've seen recently. We could see the gender pay gap close completely by 2070, so that's within one lifetime.
Working women call the gender gap a serious problem. Only 59% of men see it that way. Congress is watching the issue as well. Lawmakers have introduced the Paycheck Fairness Act, which would add more protections for women in the workforce. A new study finds 79% of people who consume alcohol have made at least one drunk purchase. The survey done by tech and business website The Hustle estimates it's a $45 billion a year industry, with the average wasted buyer blowing $444 each buy. Clothes, shoes, movies, and electronic devices top the list of alcohol-fueled regret buying. And they're using Amazon to do it almost exclusively. A whopping 85% of drunk shoppers made their mistakes with Amazon. One of the nation's largest wireless providers is set to release new technology to stop robocallers from reaching your phone. Verizon is reportedly set to offer customers free spam blocking tools by the end of the week. Americans received an estimated 47.8 billion robocalls in 2018. More than 46% of those were scammers. More local news, if you're itching to get outside for a spring hike around Dane County, heads up, there are some closures on area paths to know about. Crews will be taking out trees along the lower Yahara River trail starting this week. Those trees were damaged in all of the flooding we saw last summer and this spring. For anybody walking or biking on the boardwalk, some stretches will be closed throughout the month. There's a map with updated closures, and we have a link on channel3000.com. If you see smoke billowing from a random prairie, there's no need to rush to call 911. It's the time of the year again for prescribed burns in our area to keep native plants thriving. Those are taking place at a number of parks, ponds, and green spaces throughout the city. Anyone living around those burns should receive a postcard telling them when the burn is scheduled for. They'll also get an automated phone call before it starts. On the Consumer Watch this morning, check your freezer this weekend. There's a recall for almost 5,000 pounds of beef products that may be contaminated with E. coli. The products are beef heel meat and chuck tender products from Aurora Packing Company in Illinois, produced and packed at the end of February. Those items were shipped to Wisconsin, Illinois, and Iowa. While there are no reports of illnesses, the Department of Agriculture says you should toss any products with the code EST788 under the USDA mark of inspection. We're learning more about Apple, about their newest streaming service. Apple TV Plus will be available this fall as they join a crowded field of streaming services, all vying for viewers. Steven Spielberg and Oprah will be both producing content. Actors Steve Carell, Jennifer Aniston, and Reese Witherspoon will be in the new production called The Morning Show. Users will also be able to subscribe to individual pay channels like HBO, Showtime, and Starz with a new service called Apple TV Channels. With so much competition, however, experts question how successful it will be.
How many people are going to be willing to add another streaming service? TV feels so fragmented. Apple's going to have a lot of work cut out for it.
One thing we still don't know about the new Apple TV Plus service, how much you'll pay to subscribe. New York is on the way to become the third state in the country with a ban on single-use plastic grocery bags. The state legislature is working to finalize budget agreements. The ban would prohibit grocery stores from providing plastic bags for most purchases, something California has been doing since a statewide ban was approved in 2016. Hawaii also has a statewide ban. All right, 7:37 right now, sharing wisdom and dancing to it too. Ever since the Washington Wizards debuted its dance team for seniors late last year, they've been drawing big audiences and loud applause. We'll introduce you to the team when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
Good Sunday morning. Expect plenty of sunshine as we go through the day. A beautiful sunrise that occurred earlier, and now temperatures are just on a colder note. 22 degrees right now. It feels like 13 with those winds coming out of the west and northwest at 7 miles per hour. Now, as we move forward throughout your day, that sunshine does stick around. We're going to see those highs near 44 degrees. We may see some decorator clouds moving in, especially as we work your way towards the afternoon. By the evening and overnight tonight, lows fall back into the upper 20s. Josh.
All right, Chris, thank you. 7:41 right now, and ever since the Washington Wizards debuted its dance team for seniors late last year, they've been drawing big audiences and loud applause. All over 50, the squad called the Wisdom take the court at timeouts and show fans you're only as old as you feel. Here's Jan Crawford.
In a sport with so much skin in the game, this NBA team is adding, can we say it, a new wrinkle. Meet the Wisdom. The Washington Wizards are courting new fans with this senior dance team. You have to be over 50 to join. But make no mistake, they're hardly retiring.
When you're out there dancing, you're saying like, hey guys, 64 years old, you can do anything.
Bam. I don't accept the boundaries of age, period. My husband's 18 years younger. I don't know who the they say you can't do this is, because I want him to come and we'll have a chat.
Teresa Sismar says this helped her through the recent death of her nephew, a diagnosis with breast cancer.
I mean, who knew that I was supposed to get through cancer? Me. Just keep stepping.
And so when you're stepping out there,
yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Without words.
The Wisdom take the court at 1 game a month with 19 women and right there up front, 1 guy.
I'm a huge dance fan. I've been dancing. My parents would tell you coming out the crib.
But at 53, Christopher Johnson says this is his first time dancing in front of an audience.
It's a dream. It's really
a dream.
It's really a dream.
The team's been a dream for so many members who take the court in a sport where the players keep getting younger and provide a silver lining of senior dance squads across the league who, like the Wisdom, jump through some hoops to get here.
Allows me to make some of the moves.
Okay.
First, tryouts.
Great.
Then weekly workouts.
After 40, you're like, I'm gonna do me.
Lulu Hester Alexander was inspired to try out by her granddaughter, Jasmine, a Wizards dancer.
Sometimes the dance moves they do, I'm like, oh my God, why did I have her do this? But I am her #1 fan.
And often it's the Wisdom who connect with the fans in the stands.
I think because we're more like them. You know, they see themselves. It's like, well, if you can do it, then I can do it. I look out for people that are kind of looking and dancing with me, and I throw a little face their way.
Bring them in.
I bring them in.
5, 6.
And at a recent Wisdom practice,
We have CBS in the house.
that's what they did with me.
Wait a minute, is she over 50?
53.
I think the News 3 Now dance team needs to get together here. All right, well, today is definitely the pick day of the weekend. We've got more sunshine ahead for us on this Sunday. You're looking live over the Capitol this morning. A very sunny shot right there. Chris will tell us just how warm we'll get this week coming up in his forecast. But first, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can show their picture on TV. Thanks for watching News 3 Now this morning.
Well, yesterday we managed to see those temperatures making it into the low and even mid 40s for some of us. Today, the story is going to be very similar, especially with sunshine into the afternoon. But because the skies did clear out last night, we're starting things out on a much colder note as a lot of that heating was able to escape into outer space. So we are 15 degrees colder than yesterday here in Madison. Camp Douglas 17 degrees colder than 24 hours ago. They're at 15 degrees right now. A lot to low 20s showing up across the map. 19 as you work your way over towards Waukesha. Here in Madison, our temperature 22 degrees. Winds are coming out of the north and northwest at 7 miles per hour. So because of that, it feels like 13 when that breeze hits, folks. So do be prepared for that as you step out the door on this last day of March. Those northwesterly winds are going to be staying around all day. That does mean our air is going to be staying drier today. But with high pressure and control, that sunshine sticks around today as well. Expect plenty of sunshine for everyone here in the area. The only thing we have to watch, we have a weak little disturbance coming in across North Dakota right now, bringing some snowflakes for them. That's falling into drier air, though. So that system as a whole is beginning to fall apart. But I won't be surprised to see some cloud cover beginning to move into the area later on tonight. The high pressure starts to move towards the south and east. This pumps in a southerly wind flow. That's where our temperatures are going to begin to rebound, especially as we go into the upcoming first week of April. Let's start you with today, though. By the afternoon, expect those temperatures into the low 40s, highs anywhere from about 40 to 45. Later on tonight, you'll see the rounds of cloud cover possibly moving through here. We'll see those lows around 29, some cloud cover for early on Monday as well. And then by Monday afternoon, we're talking 50 degrees and a decent southwest wind starting to return to the picture at that point. Now, as we head into Monday night, into Tuesday, I can't rule out some showers, and in the far north, the possibility of a flurry or two. Most of us should be on the warmer side, but temperatures truly are starting to go on the uptick. A little cool down Wednesday into Thursday, but then watch how these temperatures go well into the 60s by the time we begin to work our way, into early next week. Some sunshine comes along with it, but there are a few chances for some unsettled weather as well, especially for the middle of this week. That cold front coming through will bring the possibility of some showers and even thunderstorms. Next Monday just intrigues me, especially into Tuesday. We are talking temperatures in the upper 60s. That means some of us could be closer to 70. And then, again, chances for showers and thunderstorms. So it will truly feel like spring at that point.
Oh,
I know. This is how everyone feels about it. That's just an adorable picture right there.
That is.
I love it. Look at the water melted. Looks like they're at the lake.
The two best friends there.
I know. I'm ready for those warmer days.
I am too. Aren't we all?
Yes.
All right, well, if you are planning a vacation to Door County this summer, there might be another 70 acres of campground for you to choose from. Wisconsin Public Radio reports the Door Bluff Headlands Park is looking at a $500,000 expansion. It's about an hour past Peninsula State Park near Ellison Bay. It includes waterfront views of the bay. The park superintendent says no tax dollars will be spent on that purchase, but rather grants and donations. The deadline for the deal is July 15th. Was solved this week. For more than 30 years, orange plastic phones bearing the image of Garfield the cat has been washing up on beaches in western France. No one knew where they came from until now. They've been coming from a container stranded at the bottom of an underwater vault, and every year a few more Garfield phones break free. How about that? Stay with News 3 Now for more local news this weekend, and then tomorrow morning I'll be live talking about Madison's next big road projects impacting some of the biggest roadways in downtown. But first, how far can $100 go? We're heading to Indiana to find out from one family who got the surprise in the mail. This is News 3 Now this morning. A $100 bill out of the blue can go a long way. For one Indiana family, a simple, unexpected gift in the mail meant more than you can possibly imagine.
Brett Cast caught up with them and shares their story.
There he goes, huh? As a stay-at-home mother, Megan Augsburger has a lot on her plate. With a 1-year-old and 2 other kids, money is tight, and Tuesday was a bad day.
Stuff with our bank account wasn't going right, and then having to get help from a family member just to make sure that we got what we needed to cover.
With spring break around the corner, Augsburger and her husband couldn't afford to do anything fun for their kids.
Hello. As you scan down to the bottom to see how we know each other, the answer is we don't.
Until a strange letter arrived in the mail.
I started reading the letter and basically started crying.
The letter was from a couple in Pittsboro, Indiana, who left only their initials.
We don't know who lives at this address or your situation. We just pick houses and send.
Included was a handwritten note and $100.
It helped out so much. And just from just the bottom of my heart, it honestly made me cry just because with 3 kids,
Thanks to this unexpected gift, Augsburger and her husband can plan a fun night out as a family, feeling thankful that couples like B&D in Pittsboro exist.
It makes everything so much better to know that there's that kind of people out there who don't want recognition, who don't want anything in return, just to do something really nice for somebody else.
In Avon, Brett Cast, CBS 4 News.
Something that's so little for one family can mean so much to another,
That's
right?
a beautiful story right there. Giving is absolutely nice. Speaking of beautiful, our weather's going to be beautiful, my dude. We are talking sunshine this afternoon and temperatures topping out around 44. Some cloud cover may move in for Monday before more sunshine Tuesday and early on Wednesday. Look at how the temperatures are staying above average in the 50s. And then I'm excited for the end of that forecast there. My friends in Kentucky have essentially been, showing off the 70-degree temps, and I'm ready for that up here, So
it's a good climb.
It's a great climb. We do have a chance for some rain and thunder, though, Wednesday into Thursday. So
better than
April
snow.
Showers, right?
There you go. All right, Chris, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us. Get out there and enjoy some of that sunshine. Make it a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.